Imagine living in a mansion where your every move is scrutinized, where even the temperature of your tea must be exactly 3 minutes and 42 seconds. Welcome to Meghan Markle's Montecito world, where luxury knows no bounds and the demands are insane. In this explosive video, we're diving into 13 outrageous, jaw-dropping demands that Meghan Markle allegedly makes of her staff in the comfort of her Montecito mansion. From ironing bedsheets daily, even if no one is visiting, to pre-warming her toilet seat and curating Spotify playlists to match her mood, these shocking revelations paint a picture of a life where nothing is left to chance. But why does Meghan need such perfection? And what do these demands say about her need for control? Stick with us to uncover the behind-the-scenes secrets of the Duchess's extravagant lifestyle and see why some of these requests have left her staff questioning their own dignity. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. What if I told you that Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has her servants iron her bedsheets every day, even if no one is coming to visit? That she demands fresh flowers matched to her mood for the day and insists on perfectly pre-warmed toilet seats? If that sounds out of touch with reality, it's because it is, at least, to most of us living ordinary lives. But in the luxury world of Meghan and Harry's Montecito mansion, such extravagant demands are reported to be the norm. In fact, Meghan has earned a reputation not just for her royal status or her high-profile marriage, but for what some have called her obsessive attention to detail when it comes to her comfort. The notion of controlling every element of one's environment might sound familiar to those with high-powered jobs, but when it comes to Meghan, her perfectionist tendencies seem to go far beyond what you might expect. This video dives into the unbelievable, yet highly reported, things Meghan allegedly demands of her household staff. We're going beyond the headlines to take you through what it's really like behind the gates of her luxurious Montecito home. Some of these stories have come from people who have worked for her. Others are based on well-known rumors that swirl around her daily life. Whatever the source, they paint a picture of a woman who insists on a lifestyle of unparalleled luxury and control, some of which seems downright bizarre. So what exactly does Meghan Markle reportedly make her staff do for her? And why do these extravagant demands matter? Could they be a reflection of her celebrity lifestyle, a need for control, or just a reflection of the massive difference between her world and the one most of us live in? We'll take a look at each of these claims, explore the psychological and cultural aspects, and, of course, let you decide whether it's all just a case of keeping up with the Joneses or something far more extreme. But first, let's set the stage for this fascinating inside look into the Duchess's life, where comfort is more than a luxury, it's a way of life. The first glimpse behind the gates. What's really going on in Montecito? Imagine this. You're living in a sprawling mansion nestled in the heart of Montecito, surrounded by palm trees, with the Pacific Ocean just a short drive away. You've got wealth beyond your wildest dreams, access to some of the best amenities in the world, and all the privacy you could ever ask for. To most of us, it sounds like a dream come true. But for Meghan Markle, this home, their home, has become a symbol of not just luxury, but an extension of her personal brand. Every detail matters, from the cleanliness of her floors to the scent of the air in her living room. That's not to say she's the only celebrity to demand such standards. After all, living in the public eye comes with a different set of rules. But what makes Meghan's request so notable is the sheer specificity and the reports from insiders that these demands go far beyond what one might expect. Meghan, according to sources, doesn't just want comfort, she requires it to be exact, down to the last detail. Let's break down the story of how one of the most famous women in the world lives behind closed doors, and how the staff that caters to her every need is reportedly expected to meet her standards. Demand number 1. Ironing bedsheets daily, even if no one's coming to visit. Let's start with a simple, yet extravagant demand that sums up Meghan Markle's perfectionist tendencies: ironing her bedsheets daily. Yes, you heard that right. Ironing bedsheets. Even though they're never seen by anyone except those in her private residence. Even though no guests are visiting on certain days, the sheets must be wrinkle-free, fresh, and perfectly pressed. To the uninitiated, this may sound absurd. Who irons their bedsheets for the sake of aesthetics in a home that is meant to be a private sanctuary? But according to multiple reports, this is just one of the extreme requests Meghan Markle allegedly makes of her staff. The requirement of wrinkle-free sheets may stem from a deep-seated need for order and comfort, but it's also an example of just how meticulous Meghan is when it comes to her environment. Imagine being a staff member tasked with performing such an obscure chore, knowing that your work will go unseen by anyone but the family, and possibly a few trusted friends or family members. For Meghan, this isn't just about cleanliness. It's about maintaining control over every aspect of her home, making sure it fits her high standards at all times. While some would argue that her desire for pristine surroundings is just another form of self-care, it could also point to a deeper need for perfectionism, something we see mirrored in many high-profile celebrities who have the financial means to demand such luxuries. But whether it's about comfort, cleanliness, or a combination of both, one thing is clear: no task is too small or too insignificant to be ignored. Demand number 2. Fresh flowers by color and mood. Next up, we have the much-discussed topic of fresh flowers. You've probably heard that Meghan Markle insists on having fresh flowers in her home, but what sets her demand apart from most is the specificity with which she requests them. Meghan allegedly asks for the flowers to match her mood for the day, and not just a general bright and happy mood, but a highly curated arrangement of colors, textures, and arrangements that correspond to her emotional state. This could mean vibrant yellows and oranges if she's feeling energetic, or soft pastels if she's feeling more relaxed or serene. Now, this is where things start to get a little more intense. The demand to match flowers to her mood isn't just about making her home beautiful, it's about a level of control that borders on obsessive. And, according to those close to her, if the arrangements aren't just right, if the flowers don't perfectly align with her vibe, they're sent back to be redone. Why does this matter? Why would someone go to such lengths to match their floral arrangements to their emotional state? It could be that Meghan finds comfort in controlling the energy of her space, perhaps even using it as a way to maintain emotional stability in her otherwise chaotic life. Whatever the reasoning, it's just another example of how her demands for perfection touch every corner of her home. Demand number 3. Pre-warming the toilet seat. By now, you might be wondering how extreme Meghan's other demands are. Well, the next one might just take the cake, or, in this case, the toilet seat. Imagine the luxury of a pre-warmed toilet seat every time you need to use the restroom. While it may sound like a small, even trivial request, it's actually one of Meghan's reported demands. According to sources, Meghan Markle allegedly refuses to sit on a cold toilet seat, no matter how warm or sunny it might be outside in California. At first glance, this could seem like an absurd request. After all, how many people would even think to make such a demand? But for someone as high-profile as Meghan, comfort isn't just about aesthetics, it's about having her needs met on her terms. And that means ensuring that everything around her is controlled and comfortable, right down to the temperature of the toilet seat. It's a luxury, yes, but it's also a reflection of how deep Meghan's desire for control runs. Nothing is too small to be overlooked in her quest for perfection. It's also an example of how those working for her are expected to go to extreme lengths to meet her standards, no matter how strange or unusual they might seem to the outside world. As we can see from these first 3 demands, Meghan Markle's requests go well beyond what most people would expect. From ironing bedsheets to curating flower arrangements to pre-warming toilet seats, her home in Montecito seems like a haven of luxury, but also of obsession. In the next section, we'll dive into even more extreme demands that Meghan is said to make, including her curated playlists, her scent-zoning rituals, and her exacting standards when it comes to food. So, stay tuned to find out what else is going on behind the gates of Meghan Markle's luxury home. For many people, tea is a simple, comforting beverage. It's about relaxation, unwinding after a long day, or starting the morning with a warm, familiar ritual. For Meghan Markle, however, tea isn't just a drink, it's a precision exercise. And according to various sources, it's an exercise that demands perfection every single time. Imagine this. You're tasked with making tea for one of the most famous women in the world. And it's not just any tea, it's Meghan Markle's tea. It must be brewed for precisely 3 minutes and 42 seconds. If that timer goes even a second over or under, the tea is deemed undrinkable and discarded. A new batch must be made, and this precise timing must be followed again. Now, most of us might think this is an over-the-top request. After all, who keeps track of seconds when they're steeping their tea? For Meghan, it's not just about the ritual, it's about control. She has reportedly grown very particular about her tea. From the temperature of the water to the steeping time, everything must be exact. This demand might sound unusual, even a bit absurd, but it's another reflection of Meghan's meticulous approach to her daily comforts. When it comes to making her tea, there is no room for error. Staff members are reportedly instructed to measure the steeping time down to the second. If, by some chance, the tea falls short of her expectations, it must be poured out and replaced. There is no good enough in Meghan Markle's world, at least not when it comes to her tea. Why 3 minutes and 42 seconds? The answer might lie in Meghan's own standards for perfection. The exactness of the time likely isn't random. It's part of the ritual of control. For someone who is known for her precision in other areas of life, her wardrobe, her surroundings, her personal schedule, this tea-making process isn't just about taste. It's about a strict adherence to personal preferences and the need for everything to be just as she imagines it. And of course, this level of precision isn't something most people would associate with making tea. Tea, after all, is an everyday, comforting part of life for millions of people. But for Meghan, like so many other aspects of her daily routine, it's not enough to simply have a cup of tea. It must be perfect. For the staff members who are tasked with making the tea, this is likely no small feat. It requires focus, patience, and the ability to carry out what might feel like an increasingly bizarre and obsessive request. The same staff member who might be preparing her tea is also responsible for ensuring that every other detail of Meghan's day runs smoothly. It's a balancing act between attending to the grandeur of her requests and fulfilling the seemingly small yet exacting demands. Meghan's attention to detail here might be viewed as a symptom of perfectionism. For some, it might be about seeking comfort in a world that is constantly chaotic. For others, it could be an attempt to control even the smallest aspects of life in an environment that's entirely within their power. Whether it's the pre-warmed toilet seat or the perfectly steeped cup of tea, these demands show a side of Meghan Markle that goes beyond what most of us would imagine for a celebrity. It's the manifestation of her quest for control, and it's a reminder that perfection, for some, is an unyielding pursuit. But let's step back for a moment. What does it mean for the staff working under these conditions? The pressure to meet Meghan's exacting standards isn't just about making the tea. It's about meeting the high expectations that she sets for everything. A misplaced cup or an unsteeped tea bag could result in a second round of perfectionism, perhaps with no room for error. This is a world where your ability to meet someone else's standard of perfection defines how you're valued. It's not just about making tea, it's about being able to get it just right, every time. For Meghan, perhaps the brewing of tea is more than just a routine. It's a symbol of her quest for idealism, a moment where she can hold on to a piece of normalcy in her extraordinary life. Tea, after all, is a ritual shared across cultures, a moment of calm in a busy day. But for someone who has been thrust into the spotlight since her royal days began, this small, controlled ritual might represent her need for some semblance of control. But in the grander scheme of things, Meghan's need for this level of precision speaks to something bigger: the performance of perfection. Whether it's a tea brewing process that demands an exact steeping time or the perfectly timed flower arrangements, Meghan Markle is reportedly not satisfied with the ordinary. She requires an extraordinary amount of effort to create the world around her that fits her needs, preferences, and personal style. And while some might argue this is just an elite lifestyle, others would suggest that it reveals an underlying desire for control, a way to insulate herself from the chaos and scrutiny that surrounds her every move. Now, let's think for a moment about the implications of this for the staff. The role of making Meghan's tea isn't just about the beverage. It's about providing the perfect experience for someone who demands the best. From temperature to steeping time to the perfect color of the leaves, everything must align with her standards. And for those who serve her, the pressure to meet these demands day after day must be immense. It's a life where every detail matters. It's a life where perfection is not just a goal, but an unyielding rule. And for those who fail to meet that perfection, it's not just about making another cup of tea. It's about succeeding or failing at an intimate task meant to ensure the comfort and satisfaction of a person who expects nothing less than the best. In this section, we've looked at the absurdity and control that comes with Meghan Markle's tea demands. The process of brewing a cup of tea for the Duchess, while seemingly a small and simple task, becomes an exercise in precision, obsession, and perfection. In Meghan's world, where comfort, luxury, and perfection reign supreme, there is little room for error, even in the most mundane tasks. But what does it say about her as a person? What does it mean for the staff who are expected to meet her exact standards? And what does it reveal about the nature of control in a world where every minute detail is orchestrated to create the illusion of perfection? We'll continue to explore more of Meghan's eccentric and extreme demands in the upcoming sections. But for now, let's take a moment to reflect on how a simple cup of tea can reveal so much about a person's need for control in their life. In the world of luxury living, every detail counts. From the finest fabrics on the furniture to the perfectly manicured gardens outside, nothing is left to chance. But for Meghan Markle, one element of her daily life stands out more than most: the scents that fill every room of her home. While many people might think of a candle as a simple way to add a pleasant aroma to a room, for Meghan, scent is something much more deliberate. According to reports from insiders, Meghan has developed a highly curated approach to scenting her Montecito mansion, a process known as scent zoning. For those unfamiliar with the concept, scent zoning refers to the practice of assigning specific scents to each room, based on the atmosphere or mood she wants to create in that space. This level of attention to detail might sound extreme to some, but to Meghan, it's just another part of her quest for the perfect environment. She has allegedly requested that every room in her mansion be scented with its own unique fragrance, suited to the room's purpose or her own personal vibe for the day. Some rooms are filled with calming lavender or jasmine for a sense of tranquility. Others are energized with citrus, pine, or even eucalyptus to create a feeling of freshness and vitality. No room is ever left without its signature scent. And it's not just about candles sitting on the mantel or in the corner of a room. Meghan's scent zoning is said to involve the use of diffusers, essential oils, and specially prepared scent blends that are carefully tailored for the space. The goal is to create a specific atmosphere wherever she goes in her home. Whether she's entertaining guests in the living room, winding down in her bedroom, or spending time in her office, the scent in each area is meant to reflect the purpose of that space and, of course, her mood. What might be even more surprising is the level of control Meghan reportedly has over this process. Sources suggest that she is actively involved in choosing the scents used in her home. She doesn't just leave it to a staff member or a professional scent expert. She wants to be hands-on. Staff are allegedly instructed to change the scents at specific times of day, and the exact blend must be prepared in advance. If the scent doesn't match her desired outcome, it's sent back for adjustments. To add another layer to the complexity of her scent zoning ritual, Meghan is said to have specific times for when each room's scent should be at its peak. It's not enough for her to have the right scent in the room. The scent must be actively diffused at just the right time, creating a constant sensory experience that aligns with her needs at any given moment. A room might start the day smelling like calming lavender, but by the time the evening rolls around, it could transform into something more invigorating, like citrus or sandalwood. While this might sound excessive, it's not entirely out of the ordinary for people who take great pride in their living spaces. However, Meghan's level of control over the scent in her mansion takes it to another level. Scent has long been known to affect mood and emotion, and perhaps this is Meghan's way of controlling the energy around her. In an environment where every moment is scrutinized, it might make sense for her to want to curate the atmosphere in such a personal and intimate way. For staff, this level of precision can be demanding. Reports claim that it's not just about placing a candle in a room and calling it a day. Meghan reportedly requires that the staff monitor the diffusion process throughout the day, ensuring that the right scent is always present and that it's being diffused at the correct times. If a scent is too strong or too subtle, staff are expected to adjust it immediately. This type of request is one that requires constant attention and care. It's not just about adding fragrance to the air. It's about creating a carefully crafted experience. The room has to smell like Meghan's vision for it. Nothing less, nothing more. And for the staff, the pressure to get it right can be immense. It's another example of how her requests often extend beyond what seems reasonable or necessary. It's not just about a nice-smelling home. It's about a home that reflects her desires down to the most minute detail. But what does this demand reveal about Meghan herself? For some, it might seem like an exercise in luxury, a small indulgence in a world where she has access to almost anything she wants. But for others, it might point to a deeper need for control, a need to shape her environment in a way that reflects her emotional and mental state. Scent has a powerful psychological effect on people, and for Meghan, it seems that the power of scent is not just a way to enhance her environment, but a way to control it. Meghan's obsession with scent zoning might also be tied to her desire for privacy. If she can control the air around her, she can create an environment that feels safe, calm, and intimate, free from the eyes and opinions of the public. In a world where her every move is scrutinized, it makes sense that Meghan would turn to these subtle, almost invisible means of control to carve out some sense of privacy and peace. And yet, this very demand raises questions about what it takes to maintain such a highly controlled and curated lifestyle. If every room must be infused with a particular scent at a particular time, how much of Meghan's life is truly her own, and how much of it is shaped by the need for perfection, for luxury, for the absence of chaos? Is it a simple preference, or is it a reflection of something deeper? Perhaps it's not just about the way things smell in her home, but about how she feels in control of the world around her. For staff, the pressure to meet such exacting standards can be overwhelming. It's one thing to manage a home for a celebrity or high-profile individual, but it's another thing entirely when that individual has specific demands that leave no room for error. For the employees responsible for Meghan's scent zoning, this level of detail isn't just a job, it's a lifestyle. They have to constantly adjust, monitor, and maintain an atmosphere that fits Meghan's vision of perfection. And if they fail, there could be consequences. So what does all this mean for the everyday person? It might seem like a luxurious, albeit strange, way of life. But for those inside Meghan's world, these demands aren't just eccentricities. They're part of a larger narrative of control and perfection. Scent zoning is a practice that goes beyond merely making her home smell nice. It's a way for Meghan to control her environment, to create a sense of peace and order in a life that's often chaotic and filled with outside pressures. But as with all things in Meghan's world, the question remains, how much is too much? When does a demand for comfort cross the line into the realm of the absurd? And how much of this desire for perfection is truly about Meghan's comfort? And how much is about asserting control over the space around her? These questions are what make the story of Meghan's scent zoning rituals both fascinating and perplexing. For those who work for her, it's a task that demands their constant attention. But for Meghan herself, it's likely more than just about scent. It's about creating a space that feels safe, controlled, and, perhaps most importantly, free from the prying eyes of the world. As we continue to explore the other demands that shape Meghan's Montecito life, one thing is clear. For Meghan Markle, perfection is in the details. And in the world of scent zoning, she's ensuring that every room reflects the exact mood she desires at all times. In the world of high-profile celebrities and royalty, there are many unspoken rules, manners, expectations, and boundaries that are designed to maintain the polished image of the individual at the center of it all. But for Meghan Markle, one of the most eyebrow-raising and controversial demands revolves around a rule she allegedly enforces on her household staff, the no eye contact rule. Yes, you read that correctly. According to reports from former staff and those close to the household, Meghan Markle has instructed her staff that under no circumstances are they to make direct eye contact with her unless she speaks to them first. This seemingly strange and seemingly small request raises questions not just about Meghan's personality, but about the nature of power, control, and boundaries in her private life. To most people, eye contact is a natural and expected part of communication. It's a way of connecting with others, showing respect, and even building trust. But in Meghan's world, eye contact seems to have been turned into a measure of authority. The idea of limiting eye contact is not only an extreme form of control, but also an exercise in dominance, especially in a private space where the only people around are the people she has brought into her service. The psychology of power, why eye contact matters. The power dynamics behind the no eye contact rule are important to understand. In many cultures, eye contact is an essential part of establishing rapport and respect. It's one of the first ways we connect with others and can often serve as a signal of trustworthiness, attentiveness, and honesty. In contrast, avoiding eye contact is often associated with discomfort, dishonesty, or avoidance. So when someone in a position of authority, like Meghan, demands that others avoid eye contact with them, it changes the nature of the interaction. At its core, this rule represents a complete reversal of a fundamental social norm. The act of forcing staff members to refrain from eye contact until spoken to is a subtle but powerful way of establishing boundaries and asserting dominance. It's one of the most direct ways Meghan could communicate that her staff must remain in the background, unseen and unheard unless summoned. But why enforce such a rule in the first place? What does this behavior say about Meghan's relationship with her staff, her sense of control, and her psychological needs? A reflection of control. One possibility is that Meghan's no eye contact rule is an extension of her broader desire for control. In a world where she is constantly in the public eye, where her every move is scrutinized, and where her image is everything, Controlling the interactions that happen in her private space may offer her a sense of security and protection. If she can control how people behave around her, even down to the smallest gestures like eye contact, she creates a barrier between herself and the world. Control is a recurring theme in the reported demands Meghan makes of her staff. Whether it's the exact timing of her tea steeping, the mood of her floral arrangements, or the scent in her rooms, it's clear that Meghan wants to dictate every detail of her environment. The no eye contact rule fits perfectly into this larger framework. By controlling something as seemingly insignificant as eye contact, Meghan ensures that the people around her are placed in a subservient role, obedient and deferential until she decides otherwise. For her staff, this rule likely adds another layer of stress and discomfort to their work environment. What happens when you are forced to withhold a natural, human response in the course of your daily duties? How does it affect your sense of self and your ability to connect with others? For some staff, this rule could create a feeling of powerlessness, as though they are being reduced to mere tools in the background of Meghan's life, there to do their work, but not to be seen or acknowledged. The psychological toll on staff. The emotional and psychological effects of this rule cannot be underestimated. For those who are used to a more egalitarian, respectful relationship with their employers, the no eye contact rule could feel dehumanizing. It places an artificial barrier between Meghan and the people who are supposed to serve her, making it clear that their role is not to be seen or heard unless invited into her space. It can lead to feelings of alienation and discomfort, as staff members are forced to constantly self-monitor their behavior to ensure they don't violate the unspoken boundaries of the household. There's also the issue of trust. When someone enforces a rule that restricts natural communication, like eye contact, it can make it harder for staff to feel comfortable or open in their interactions with the person they're serving. The act of withholding something as basic as eye contact creates an invisible wall between employer and employee, one that makes it harder to build a rapport or develop a sense of mutual understanding. Over time, this could lead to increased tension, dissatisfaction, and frustration among those working under such an environment. For Meghan, however, the no eye contact rule might serve as a mechanism for protecting herself. In a life that's constantly under the microscope, where her image is scrutinized by millions of people around the world, controlling interactions on a micro level could help her feel safe and secure in her private space. In this context, the no eye contact rule is more than just an arbitrary request. It's part of a broader strategy for maintaining privacy and control in a world where both are often out of reach. Comparing Meghan's rule to other celebrity demands. Meghan Markle's no eye contact rule isn't unique to her, though it might be one of the more extreme examples. Many high-profile individuals, from celebrities to royalty, enforce similar boundaries with their staff. For example, some celebrities and royals have been known to require that their staff address them only by title or avoid addressing them unless spoken to. In this way, the no eye contact rule can be seen as part of a larger pattern of behavior that seeks to maintain control and separate the elite from the servants. In some cases, these types of rules are rooted in cultural traditions or expectations. In other cases, they are simply a byproduct of living in a world where privacy is a precious commodity and maintaining boundaries is essential for mental and emotional well-being. Regardless of the reasoning, these behaviors often leave their staff members feeling like mere instruments for the upkeep of a larger image or brand. But in Meghan's case, the no eye contact rule may also be a reflection of her own sense of powerlessness, her attempt to carve out an environment where she can exert control, where she can feel like the one calling the shots rather than being subjected to the whims of public opinion. The effect on public perception. Interestingly, the no eye contact rule has also contributed to a growing narrative about Meghan's personality. While some might see this as a quirky demand of a celebrity used to being in the public eye, others view it as a deeper issue of how Meghan manages her public and private life. It adds to the image of Meghan as someone who is private, elusive, and fiercely protective of her boundaries. In public, Meghan has been described as warm, approachable, and open to her supporters. But in private, it appears she's created a world that is far more insular and controlled, where every interaction is carefully curated to meet her emotional needs. The no eye contact rule gives us a glimpse into that private world, a world where Meghan's need for control over every interaction shapes the way she lives day to day. For Meghan, this rule is about more than just creating distance from her staff. It's about managing how she is seen and interacted with. By controlling something as fundamental as eye contact, she reinforces her authority, maintains a sense of space, and establishes clear boundaries in a world that constantly intrudes upon her life. In the world of celebrity and royalty, it's not uncommon for people to have staff dedicated to ensuring their comfort and safety in the most personal of settings, like their meals. But Meghan Markle's alleged demand for a personal food taster takes this concept to a whole new level of luxury and, depending on how you look at it, extreme precaution. Most of us think of a personal food taster as something straight out of historical fiction, like a king or queen from centuries past, surrounded by courtly intrigue, requiring someone to taste their food before they dare take a bite, all to ensure that no poison is lurking in their meals. But for Meghan Markle, this demand seems to be rooted not in fear of assassination or foul play, but in a deep desire for control over her personal environment and, quite possibly, her health. Imagine being employed to taste someone else's food before it reaches their plate, checking the texture, flavor, and temperature of every dish. That's reportedly part of the job for one staff member in Meghan's Montecito home. The food taster, allegedly employed by the Duchess, is tasked with tasting every meal before Meghan eats it, ensuring it meets her exacting standards. No meal, it seems, is complete without this final step, a pre-meal inspection, conducted by a trusted staffer who checks everything from the seasoning to the overall balance of flavors. Why would Meghan need such a measure? Is it about safety, luxury, or control? It's likely a combination of all three, but let's break it down. The desire for perfection in every detail. For someone like Meghan, who has lived much of her life in the public eye, food may not just be something to nourish the body, it might also be a reflection of her desire for perfection. From her carefully curated image to her highly stylized lifestyle, every detail of her life is reportedly meticulously planned and executed to maintain a sense of order and control. And if food is one of the most intimate experiences in anyone's daily routine, why wouldn't it be subject to the same standards? Meghan's personal food taster serves as a safeguard, not just for the quality of her meals but for the entire dining experience. While most people can rely on their own taste buds to judge if their food is properly prepared, Meghan allegedly prefers to have someone else taste it first. This can be seen as an act of trust. She is placing the responsibility for quality assurance in the hands of a staff member, someone who is dedicated to making sure that her meals meet her specific requirements. But beyond just quality control, Meghan's reliance on a food taster could be linked to a deeper need for precision and consistency in her life. Every detail in her mansion, from the scent in each room to the temperature of her tea, is reportedly controlled to create an ideal environment. The food taster, in this case, becomes yet another piece of the puzzle, ensuring that Meghan's personal environment remains flawless at all times. Health concerns? Or just a preference? Some may argue that Meghan's demand for a personal food taster is motivated by concerns over her health. After all, as a public figure, she is constantly in the spotlight, and it's no secret that maintaining health and fitness is a priority for her. In a world where public figures are scrutinized not just for their accomplishments but for their appearance and well-being, it's possible that Meghan uses the FO. Having a personal food taster could be seen as a safeguard against anything that might interfere with her carefully controlled diet. She has spoken openly about her commitment to a balanced lifestyle, including healthy eating habits. With someone else ensuring that her food is prepared to her exact preferences, Meghan may feel more confident that what she's eating is not only safe, but perfectly suited to her specific needs. While the idea of a food taster seems far more practical for someone living in a different time, where poisoning was a very real threat, the concept in Meghan's case may also be linked to her desire for a sense of certainty in an otherwise unpredictable world. The food taster becomes a final check in a long line of measures Meghan reportedly takes to ensure that nothing in her environment disrupts her lifestyle. Control and status. The power of a personal food taster. At a deeper level, the personal food taster may serve as a reminder of the immense privilege Meghan enjoys as a wealthy celebrity. Few people in the world can afford to have someone taste their food before they do. The very idea of such a position speaks to an extreme level of luxury and control over one's environment, something Meghan likely enjoys and has become accustomed to since joining the ranks of the British royal family. The role of the food taster is one of subservience, ensuring that Meghan's needs are met before anything is allowed to reach her plate. In many ways, this mirrors other demands she makes on her staff, requests that, while seemingly small or trivial to some, are part of a larger system designed to maintain her sense of control. In a life that's constantly under the scrutiny of the media and the public, where privacy is often a rare commodity, Meghan likely finds comfort in being able to control even the smallest elements of her daily life. Her staff, in essence, become the silent architects of her daily routines, ensuring that everything runs smoothly and according to her wishes. This includes not just food, but every other demand she reportedly makes, from the exact temperature of her tea to the scent in each room of her home. The food taster, in this sense, is not just about maintaining her health or diet. It's about upholding the larger image she's crafted for herself, one that is rooted in perfection and control. The impact on the staff. For the staff members who are tasked with ensuring Meghan's food is up to her standards, this role comes with its own set of challenges. The pressure to meet such exacting standards day in and day out can be immense. The responsibility of tasting and approving the food before it's delivered to Meghan's table is not just about ensuring it meets flavor or nutritional requirements. It's about making sure that nothing goes wrong. A slight misstep could result in disappointment or even more extreme consequences, as the expectation for perfection is clearly set from the start. While some may view this as just another facet of a high-profile celebrity's lifestyle, the demands placed on staff can be exhausting and emotionally taxing. It's not just about preparing food. It's about preparing it to the absolute specifications of a woman who demands the best at all times. In a household where every task is scrutinized and evaluated, the role of the personal food taster becomes more than just a job. It becomes a constant exercise in stress management. The staff member tasked with this responsibility must perform their duties without error, with the added pressure of knowing that their work is directly impacting Meghan's daily experience. It's worth considering whether such demands are sustainable in the long run, both for Meghan and her staff. The need for perfection and the desire to control every aspect of her environment can create a dynamic of imbalance in the workplace, where staff are expected to fulfill increasingly elaborate and unusual requests. As we've seen with other high-profile individuals who maintain similarly stringent demands, the toll on staff can be significant, leading to burnout and a sense of alienation. What does it reveal about Meghan? So, what does Meghan's reliance on a personal food taster really reveal about her as a person? Is it a mere luxury, a quirk of someone who has the financial means to indulge in such excesses? Or does it speak to a deeper need for control, consistency, and certainty in a life that's filled with unpredictable scrutiny and pressure? At the heart of it, Meghan's demands appear to stem from her desire to maintain an environment that is perfectly curated to suit her needs, her desires, and her image. Whether it's about health, comfort, or status, the personal food taster serves as one more piece of the puzzle, a measure that helps Meghan feel in control of her surroundings, even in a world where control is often out of reach. For her, it's not just about having a meal. It's about having it exactly the way she wants it. And in that, she creates an environment where perfection is the standard and nothing is ever left to chance. In the age of constant connectivity, when our phones are with us at all times and serve as a constant reminder of the world outside, the idea of silencing all phones indoors might seem like a small request. But when that request comes from someone as high-profile as Meghan Markle, it takes on a new dimension. It becomes part of a broader pattern of control, one where even the most common, mundane aspects of life are regulated and managed to maintain a sense of order, peace, and privacy. Reports from Meghan's staff suggest that there is one rule that applies to everyone in her Montecito mansion: no phone sounds allowed indoors. Whether it's a simple ring, a text notification, or even a soft buzz, phones must be silenced at all times. It's not just about silence for the sake of peace and quiet. It's about control, the assertion of authority over the spaces and interactions within her home. This request might seem trivial to many, but for Meghan, it appears to be a matter of ensuring that her home remains a sanctuary from the outside world. As a public figure, privacy is a luxury that's often out of reach. The constant media attention, the invasive paparazzi, the never-ending scrutiny, these are things that Meghan and Harry have repeatedly spoken about in their public life. And so, in the private confines of their home, they've made a point to establish rules that protect their space. The no-phone rule is part of that effort. But what does it say about the nature of control? Why is it so important that phones be silenced, even if they're just the devices of those working within the house? The answers might be more complex than they appear on the surface. Privacy and the need for control. First and foremost, the silencing of phones can be seen as a direct response to the lack of privacy Meghan faces in her public life. She has spoken openly about the challenges of living under constant surveillance, whether it's from the press, the paparazzi, or even public opinion. When you're Meghan Markle, every move you make is analyzed, photographed, and dissected. And that level of scrutiny doesn't just happen outside. It can also seep into the most private corners of your life. By silencing all phones inside her mansion, Meghan creates a space where the outside world has no access. There are no unexpected calls, no social media notifications, no messages from the outside world to distract or disrupt the carefully curated environment she has set up. It's an effort to maintain some level of privacy and control in a life that is otherwise always in the public eye. For Meghan, this rule is likely one of the few ways she can block out the noise and focus on the people who matter most: her family, her staff, and herself. But it's also about maintaining control over what is shared and what remains private. Phones, after all, are personal devices, capable of sending messages, making calls, and sharing moments of our lives with others. In a world where everything Meghan does seems to end up in the tabloids, the act of silencing phones could be her way of protecting her narrative. By restricting the ability for people to take photos, record videos, or even make calls in her space, she ensures that everything that happens within her home stays private, at least as private as she can make it. A symbol of authority. Beyond the practical need for privacy, Meghan's no-phone rule can also be seen as a symbol of authority. In her household, it's clear that she runs the show. While most people would consider phone use in the home to be a personal decision, Meghan has reportedly made it a point to control this aspect of her staff's behavior. It's not just about the peace and quiet of the home. It's about creating a sense of order, of setting the tone for how things are done in her space. This is a woman who is used to being in control. From her public image to her private life, Meghan has always been aware of the power dynamics at play. Her decision to regulate something as simple as phone use can be seen as an extension of that control. By silencing phones, she ensures that no one in her home is able to communicate with the outside world without her permission. It's an exercise in maintaining dominance, even in the most seemingly trivial of areas. It's also worth considering how this demand affects the staff working in the house. Staff members, who might otherwise rely on their phones for communication with the outside world, are now forced to adhere to this rule. It's a subtle reminder that their presence in the house is temporary, that they are there to serve Meghan's needs, not to maintain their own connections with the world. This kind of control can create a sense of isolation for those who work in the mansion, as they are cut off from the outside world during their shifts. The power dynamic in the house becomes even more pronounced when considering the context of celebrity life. The staff working for Meghan are often employees who have come from various backgrounds, many of whom have worked in other high-profile homes or estates. But in Meghan's case, the no-phone rule serves as a reminder of her position at the top of the hierarchy, a reminder that she is the one who decides what is permissible and what isn't. The psychological impact on staff. There's no denying that the no-phone rule might create a sense of unease or discomfort for those working in Meghan's household. Phones, in today's world, are not just communication tools, they're lifelines. For the staff, the ability to check in with family members, stay updated on personal matters, or even just check the time is important. The phone has become an integral part of modern life, and for Meghan to remove that from her household creates a subtle but constant pressure for the staff. It's one thing to ask staff to silence their phones while they're working. It's another thing entirely to make it a rule that they cannot have their phones on, or even check them during their shift. The implications are psychological and emotional. Staff members who are away from their families for hours at a time are forced to disconnect completely from their personal lives while working in Meghan's home. For some, this could feel stifling or isolating. It may even create a sense of dependency on Meghan herself, as the staff's ability to maintain any form of autonomy during their workday is limited. In a way, the no-phone rule becomes an extension of the broader environment of control that Meghan reportedly maintains in her home. It's not just about managing noise or distractions. It's about creating an environment where every detail, every interaction, and every moment of the day is filtered through her lens. It's a subtle, yet powerful way to ensure that no outside forces intrude on the carefully curated reality she has built for herself. Meghan's need for privacy and peace. At the heart of this demand lies a fundamental desire for privacy. Privacy in a world where personal moments are constantly shared with the public. Privacy in a life that has been defined by scrutiny, where even a family meal can turn into a media event. For Meghan, silencing phones in her home is one of the few ways she can protect her peace, her space, and her family from the relentless intrusion of the outside world. This need for privacy is something Meghan and Harry have both emphasized in their post-royal lives. After stepping away from official royal duties, they moved to Montecito with the intention of living a life that was separate from the media frenzy. And while they may still be public figures, their decision to take control over the aspects of their private lives, like silencing phones, reflects their desire to carve out a space where they can exist without constant external noise. Of course, this desire for privacy is a double-edged sword. While it protects Meghan and Harry from the outside world, it also creates a more insular existence, one where they are in complete control of the narrative. The no-phone rule becomes a symbol of their ability to dictate their environment, but also of the increasing isolation they may feel from the outside world. Public perception and the media's role. Public perception plays a significant role in Meghan's decisions. From her relationship with the press to her personal image, Meghan is keenly aware of how she is perceived by the public. The no-phone rule can be seen as an attempt to protect herself from the invasive nature of media scrutiny, allowing her to maintain a sense of control over her environment. But it also raises questions about the balance between privacy and accessibility, particularly when it comes to how much influence the media and public opinion should have on personal decisions. By enforcing this rule, Meghan may be signaling to the outside world that she is taking control of her personal space, ensuring that nothing can disrupt the peace and security she has worked so hard to create. It's a reflection of her determination to protect her family and her sense of self, even if it means isolating herself from others. In the world of modern technology and entertainment, music is one of the most powerful ways to influence mood, energy, and atmosphere. We all have our favorite songs for different situations. Music for getting pumped up before a workout, calming tunes for winding down after a long day, or maybe some relaxing background music for a quiet evening at home. For most of us, these playlists are something we create ourselves, either through our own taste or by choosing from curated playlists available online. But for Meghan Markle, music is more than just a casual hobby or personal enjoyment. It's an exacting ritual that reportedly extends to every facet of her life. According to insiders, Meghan is said to have a collection of curated Spotify playlists for virtually every mood, task, or guest situation imaginable. This demand takes music from being a simple source of entertainment to a carefully tailored experience, personalized to fit Meghan's specific emotional and environmental needs at any given moment. Whether she's hosting friends, relaxing at home, or getting ready for an important meeting, Meghan allegedly requires her staff to prepare the perfect playlist to suit her mood for the day or the occasion. Imagine this: her personal assistants, tasked with the already complicated job of managing the vast number of requests Meghan has, are also responsible for ensuring that the music in the background aligns perfectly with her emotional state. It's not just about playing her favorite songs. It's about setting the tone, curating the vibe, and, in Meghan's world, creating an atmosphere that aligns with every nuance of the moment. The exacting nature of Meghan's music requests. To some, it might sound like a luxury. To others, it may seem excessive or even borderline obsessive. But for Meghan, music has become an extension of her control over her environment. According to reports, her playlists are not just a collection of tunes that she enjoys. They are thoughtfully selected to match her mood, whether she is feeling energized, relaxed, reflective, or entertained. For example, one source mentioned how Meghan allegedly has a playlist for each type of guest. If she's entertaining friends or hosting a casual gathering, the music needs to reflect the vibe she wants to create. Nothing too loud or distracting, but something warm and inviting. If Meghan is preparing for an important event, like an interview or a public appearance, the playlist might include more energetic, upbeat songs to help boost her confidence. In other moments, when she wants to focus, the playlist might be instrumental or calming, designed to soothe the mind and help her concentrate. Meghan's relationship with music appears to be an active one, not a passive experience. She's not simply pressing play and letting it run. She's actively involved in the curation of her musical environment, ensuring that each song matches the specific feeling or tone she wants to project. This is no different from her other demands for control, whether it's over her diet, her home scent, or the timing of her tea. The role of personal assistants and the pressure to perform. For those who work for MEGHAN, the responsibility of maintaining such a personalized and precise system of musical curation could be both an exhausting and daunting task. According to sources close to her staff, her personal assistants are expected to have a variety of playlists prepared at all times, ready to be deployed depending on MEGHAN's fluctuating mood. The assistants reportedly must be aware of every potential scenario: what music to play if MEGHAN is feeling low, what music works best when she needs motivation, and which tracks are appropriate when hosting guests for a sophisticated evening. The task is not just about picking a song at random. It's about anticipating MEGHAN's needs before she even expresses them. The staff must be in tune with her preferences, knowing the exact vibe she is going for, which songs will set the mood she desires, and which ones should be avoided at all costs. A wrong choice, even something as seemingly small as a poorly timed song, can throw off the balance MEGHAN has worked to create in her home, making it a constant challenge for staff to stay ahead of her musical needs. This level of involvement in the smallest details of her life shows just how deeply MEGHAN is embedded in controlling her environment. Music, an art form that is often meant to be enjoyed casually, has been transformed into an intricate tool for shaping the emotional landscape around her. The role of technology. Spotify as a luxury experience. Spotify, the world's most popular music streaming service, has revolutionized the way people listen to music. For most people, it's a way to stream a vast library of songs, create custom playlists, and explore new artists. For MEGHAN, however, Spotify goes beyond just streaming music. It's a luxury experience, crafted specifically for her taste and preferences. The integration of Spotify into MEGHAN's daily life reflects not just her love for music, but her desire for customization. While other people might simply shuffle through a few playlists or take recommendations from the app, MEGHAN likely uses Spotify as a tool to fulfill her need for perfection in every aspect of her home life. The playlists are not just a reflection of her favorite songs, they are personalized, curated to fit her precise needs. A glimpse into MEGHAN's relationship with her dogs. To understand why MEGHAN might have such a unique approach to dog care, it's important to consider her deep bond with her pets. MEGHAN has long been vocal about her love for animals, and she has shared that her dogs provide her with comfort, companionship, and emotional support. In a world where MEGHAN has faced public scrutiny and immense pressure, her pets offer her a form of solace and unconditional love. This may explain why she's so determined to provide them with a life of luxury and care, including the increasingly popular practice of doga. MEGHAN's relationship with her dogs is often described as one of mutual respect and affection. She has been seen walking her dogs around Montecito, spending time with them at home, and even incorporating them into her public image. Her love for her dogs is not just about companionship but a genuine bond, one that she wants to nurture in every way possible. By incorporating doga into their routine, MEGHAN is not just enhancing their physical well-being, but also deepening her emotional connection with them. But the luxury of doga goes beyond just a bonding experience. It's a practice that promotes relaxation and mindfulness, something MEGHAN has spoken about embracing in her own life. Just as she curates every other aspect of her environment, from her personal routines to her home's atmosphere, she applies the same level of mindfulness and intention to her pet's well-being. For MEGHAN, doga is about creating a holistic environment where both she and her animals are nurtured in body and mind. How doga fits into MEGHAN's lifestyle. Meghan Markle has built a life that prioritizes health, wellness, and mindfulness. From her commitment to yoga and meditation to her passion for healthy eating, she has embraced a lifestyle that promotes balance and well-being. Doga, then, fits seamlessly into this philosophy as it aligns with her desire to create an environment that fosters calm, relaxation, and care. It's worth noting that this lifestyle isn't just about luxury, it's about control. The dogs, like every aspect of MEGHAN's life, must fit into her carefully curated world. Whether it's ensuring the perfect scents in each room, having her tea brewed to an exact temperature, or making sure her dogs get the best care possible, MEGHAN is creating an environment that supports her personal values and preferences. Every element of her life, from the mundane to the extraordinary, is treated with the same level of attention and intentionality. This also speaks to MEGHAN's desire for balance in her own life. She has spoken publicly about the pressures of being in the spotlight, the challenges of dealing with public criticism, and the importance of finding peace in a chaotic world. Doga offers Meghan an opportunity to create peace and mindfulness not just for herself, but for her beloved pets as well. It's an extension of her belief in holistic wellness, ensuring that everything around her, whether human or animal, is nurtured and cared for in a way that aligns with her values. The imbalance between wealth and reality. Of course, for many people, the concept of Doga might seem extravagant, especially in a world where so many are struggling to make ends meet. The idea of spending hours a week facilitating yoga sessions for pets seems like a far cry from the reality that most people live. And yet, this is precisely what makes Meghan's reported lifestyle so controversial. It highlights the stark difference between the way the ultra-wealthy live and the struggles of the average person. While Meghan's approach to dog care may be a reflection of her personal values and her bond with her animals, it also shines a light on the larger issue of privilege. Meghan and Harry's decision to live in Montecito, with its sprawling estates and abundance of wealth, can be seen as both an escape from the pressures of royal life and an opportunity to indulge in the luxury they've always dreamed of. But for those who are watching from the outside, the lavish demands placed on Meghan's staff and pets are a reminder of the growing divide between the world of the elite and the struggles of everyday people. For staff members working in Meghan's home, the expectation to cater to these demands can be overwhelming. As we've seen in previous sections, the level of precision required to meet Meghan's high standards for everything from her tea to her flowers can create a pressure-filled environment. When it comes to the Doga sessions, this pressure is no different. Staff must be trained to ensure that the dog's yoga sessions are conducted perfectly, with each dog stretching and calming in just the right way. There's no room for error, no margin for mistake. It's not just about performing a job. It's about meeting Meghan's expectations, ensuring that everything in her home reflects the level of luxury she demands. The staff member responsible for the Doga sessions must do so with precision, attention to detail, and a sense of mindfulness that aligns with Meghan's own lifestyle. This can be an emotionally taxing job, one that requires not only physical labor but emotional investment. In the realm of luxury living, there are many demands that seem unusual to the outside world. However, Meghan Markle's reported request for mirror wipe-downs after every use takes this to a new level of precision and care. While it may sound trivial or even eccentric, this demand, like many others in her household, is part of a larger pattern of meticulous attention to detail and control over every aspect of her environment. Imagine this scenario. After Meghan uses a mirror to check her appearance or prepare for the day, a staff member must immediately wipe the mirror clean. No fog, no fingerprints, no streaks, nothing can remain on the glass. The mirror must be spotless and pristine before it is left for the next use. This process is not just about cleanliness, it's a demand for perfection that Meghan is said to insist on. For her, the very act of using a mirror is more than a simple glance. It's an experience that must be flawless. At first glance, this may seem like an unnecessary, even obsessive, request. After all, how many of us really take the time to make sure a mirror is wiped perfectly every time we use it? For most people, a quick glance and a slight adjustment are enough. But for Meghan, it seems that every detail must be attended to with the utmost care. It's a part of the larger picture of how she maintains control over her environment, ensuring that no imperfection, no matter how small, slips through the cracks. The need for perfection in the smallest details. For Meghan, perfection isn't just about the grand elements of her life. It extends to the smallest and most seemingly insignificant aspects. This demand for spotless mirrors, which seems trivial to some, is a reflection of a deeper need for order and control. If she can ensure that every surface in her home is immaculate, every room, every object, every reflection, then she can create a space that feels safe, calm, and curated. The presence of a streak, fingerprint, or fog on a mirror could disrupt that sense of order, and Meghan reportedly goes to great lengths to make sure that doesn't happen. This might be linked to Meghan's desire to control how she is seen, both physically and metaphorically. Mirrors are more than just functional items. They reflect who we are, how we present ourselves, and how we perceive our image. In Meghan's case, ensuring that mirrors are perfectly clean may be about more than just looking good. It's about maintaining the image she wants to project, not just to the public, but to herself. The act of wiping a mirror after use might seem like an insignificant task, but it speaks volumes about how Meghan wants her space to function. In her world, every element must reflect her vision of perfection. The mirrors in her home, which would typically be cleaned on a regular schedule, are treated with an extra layer of care. The idea that someone must wipe them down after each use shows how Meghan extends her demand for order to even the smallest tasks. It's not just about cleanliness, it's about ensuring that everything is as it should be, according to her standards. The impact on staff, the pressure of perfection. For the staff responsible for these tasks, the pressure is immense. The responsibility of maintaining Meghan's immaculate environment requires constant attention to detail. In a home where everything, from the scent of the rooms to the timing of the tea, is curated to perfection, a missed streak or fingerprint on a mirror could be seen as a failure. The expectation is not just to clean, but to clean with precision and care, ensuring that every inch of the space is as Meghan desires. In this case, the act of wiping down a mirror isn't just about completing a chore. It's about meeting an unspoken expectation for perfection. It's not enough for the mirrors to simply be clean. They must be pristine. No visible marks, no imperfections. This demand, while seemingly simple, adds another layer of responsibility for the staff, who must constantly be alert to Meghan's needs. The expectation is clear. Failure to meet this standard could have consequences. This also speaks to the larger dynamic of power in Meghan's household. For someone in a position of authority like Meghan, these small demands may feel like a way to reinforce control over her environment. She may not need to ask for these things in a loud or forceful way. Instead, she creates an atmosphere where every detail must align with her expectations. The staff, therefore, is left in a position where perfection is the only acceptable outcome. For those who work for her, the experience of maintaining such an immaculate home can be emotionally taxing. The pressure to meet these standards day after day is one that requires a great deal of focus and effort. For the staff, every action from the tea-making process to wiping down mirrors becomes a test of their ability to live up to the expectations set by Meghan. In some ways, it's not just about getting the job done. It's about constantly striving for perfection, even in the most mundane tasks. The symbolism of cleanliness, control, and presentation. On a deeper level, the demand for spotless mirrors can be seen as a symbolic act of control. Cleanliness, after all, is not just about hygiene. It's about presentation. A clean mirror reflects not just the physical appearance of a room, but the identity and status of the person who inhabits that space. For Meghan, the act of ensuring that mirrors are always spotless may be about presenting herself, and by extension, her home, in the best possible light. The mirror is a tool of self-reflection, and for someone in Meghan's position, the act of keeping it free from blemishes might be about managing how others perceive her. By maintaining a perfectly clean space, Meghan ensures that there are no visual distractions, no imperfections that could reflect negatively on her. In this way, the act of cleaning mirrors becomes more than just a chore. It becomes a way to reinforce the image she wants to project, both to those who visit her home and to herself. For Meghan, this attention to detail is likely a response to the constant scrutiny she faces in her public life. The media, the public, and even the royal family often expect perfection from her, and so she creates a space where that perfection can be maintained. Every mirror, every room, every object must reflect the ideal she has crafted. It's an effort to keep up the appearance of order and control, something that is difficult to achieve in a world where every move is watched. A deeper need for control, the meaning behind the clean mirror. At the heart of the mirror wipe-down rule lies a deeper psychological need for control. For Meghan, maintaining perfection is not just about creating a beautiful home, it's about asserting control over her environment. In a life where so much is dictated by public opinion, royal duties, and media expectations, Meghan likely sees these small rituals as ways to regain some measure of autonomy. Wiping down mirrors after every use isn't just a preference, it's a statement. It's a reminder that Meghan controls every aspect of her environment, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. In her world, perfection is not optional. It's a standard, a requirement. And anything less than flawless simply won't do. The broader implications: what does this demand say about Meghan? In many ways, this mirror wipe-down demand offers a glimpse into Meghan's mindset. She is someone who demands control over every aspect of her life, whether it's the temperature of her tea, the scent in her home, or the cleanliness of her mirrors. This obsession with perfection can be seen as a reaction to the chaos and criticism that often surrounds her life. It's a way to assert her power in a world where she often feels powerless. For Meghan, maintaining this level of control is likely essential to her mental and emotional well-being. She may not have the same freedom to live her life as others do, especially given the constant media attention and scrutiny she faces. But in her home, she can create an environment that is exactly as she wants it, a space where she is in control of the narrative. And so, the mirror wipe-downs, much like the other demands Meghan makes of her staff, become a reflection of her need for control, perfection, and presentation. It's a small, seemingly trivial task, but for Meghan, it's part of a much larger effort to maintain a life that aligns with her vision of how things should be. In a world where wellness and self-care have become key components of a luxurious lifestyle, it's no surprise that Meghan Markle reportedly incorporates nightly aromatherapy rituals into her daily routine. For some, this might seem like a simple way to unwind before bed. For Meghan, however, it's part of a larger pattern of controlling her environment and creating the perfect atmosphere for relaxation, comfort, and, ultimately, a sense of peace. Aromatherapy, the practice of using essential oils and other plant-based substances for therapeutic purposes, has been around for centuries. It's used to promote relaxation, improve mood, and even alleviate symptoms of stress or anxiety. For Meghan, however, it seems that aromatherapy isn't just about creating a calming atmosphere. It's another way to exert control over her space and ensure that every aspect of her environment aligns with her vision of perfection. Each night, according to reports, Meghan allegedly requires her staff to prepare a specific blend of essential oils to diffuse throughout her bedroom. This ritual is meant to set the tone for the night, creating a space that's not just physically comfortable but emotionally soothing. The goal is to create a perfect sensory experience that helps Meghan wind down and prepare for a restful night's sleep. It's a subtle, yet telling demand that highlights how Meghan's need for perfection and control extends beyond just her waking hours and into her private, personal moments of rest. Aromatherapy as a tool for control and comfort. Aromatherapy is often used for its calming effects, particularly in helping people unwind after a long day. For Meghan, it seems to be less about the therapeutic benefits and more about setting the right mood and environment. The specific oils used, the timing of the diffusion, and the overall experience of the ritual are all reportedly meticulously planned to ensure the desired result, a perfect night's sleep in an environment that feels just right. For Meghan, this nightly ritual might also serve as a way to exercise control over her personal space. Just as she controls the temperature of her tea, the scent of her rooms, and even the music that plays in the background, the aromatherapy ritual is another aspect of her life that is curated to perfection. It's a process that begins with careful selection of oils, perhaps lavender for relaxation, chamomile for calming, or eucalyptus for its purifying properties. The oils are then diffused at the exact right time, ensuring that the air in her bedroom is infused with the perfect scent. This is more than just about enjoying a pleasant fragrance before bed. It's about setting the stage for sleep, creating an environment that is conducive to rest, relaxation, and, importantly, emotional and physical comfort. In Meghan's world, every detail is controlled, and this nightly aromatherapy ritual is no different. It's a way to ensure that her environment is perfectly suited to her needs, providing her with a sense of calm and security in a life that, at times, may feel anything but peaceful. The psychological implications of aromatherapy as a ritual. Aromatherapy, as a form of self-care, has a long history of being used to promote relaxation and reduce stress. But for Meghan, it could also serve as a psychological tool, one that helps her create a mental boundary between herself and the outside world. Given the constant pressure, scrutiny, and media attention Meghan faces, it's no wonder that she would seek solace in a nightly ritual that allows her to retreat from the chaos of the world. The act of diffusing calming oils and taking the time to unwind in her own way can be seen as a form of self-soothing, a way to reclaim some sense of peace in a life that is often out of her control. The psychological effects of aromatherapy are well documented. Scents like lavender and chamomile are known to have a calming effect on the mind, helping to reduce anxiety and promote a sense of well-being. For Meghan, this ritual could be a way of taking control over her emotional state before bed, ensuring that she can wind down in an environment that is perfectly tuned to her needs. The act of setting the mood with specific oils and scents is, in many ways, an extension of Meghan's desire for emotional and psychological control. It's not just about physical comfort. It's about creating an atmosphere that reflects her emotional state and helps her feel secure, calm, and ready for rest. This ritual also reflects Meghan's overall approach to wellness. She has often spoken about the importance of self-care, mindfulness, and mental health in her public life, and this nightly aromatherapy practice seems to be a direct manifestation of those values. For someone who is constantly under the scrutiny of the media and public eye, creating a private, peaceful space to relax and unwind is crucial. The use of aromatherapy is just one of many ways Meghan reportedly takes care of herself, ensuring that she is mentally prepared to face another day of challenges, whether in the public eye or behind closed doors. The role of staff in the aromatherapy ritual. While it may sound like a simple act, diffusing oils before bed, the reality of this demand is that it requires significant effort from Meghan's staff. According to insiders, the staff is expected to be intimately involved in preparing the perfect aromatherapy experience each night. The oils must be selected with care, the diffuser must be set up at the right time, and the environment must be just right before Meghan retires for the night. For the staff, this isn't just about lighting a candle or setting up a diffuser in the corner of a room. It's about ensuring that everything is done exactly as Meghan wants it. The specific oils used, the timing of the diffusion, and even the type of diffuser are reportedly all part of the meticulous planning that goes into Meghan's nightly ritual. If something is off, if the oils are too strong or too subtle, the ritual may not have the desired effect, and Meghan may not be satisfied.